I'm Megan.
I'm CJ.
And I'm Erica.
And this is the Her Podcast.
Today we are chatting with our very first duo, husband and wife team Kori and Derek Hoffman, who embarked on a business adventure together in opening the Saskatoon location of breakfast favorite OEB Breakfast Co. With past and current backgrounds in career development, education, and law, Kori and Derek have a ton of experience working in team environments. We have a ton of questions for these two, so let's get into it.
So I had just got back from travels, and a mutual friend had introduced us. I looked a lot different then, though. Very skinny.
lots of beads, lots of
where had you been traveling?
I was in India.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I had just got back from India, like literally a month previous before we met. And so very much like longer hair.
Mm-hmm. What were you doing
beads.
in India?
Just traveling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then when we met at a coffee shop, you were managing at the time and through a mutual friend. And I pestered her to go out and then pestered her some more. And finally she lit up.
You're like, who's this guy with all these beads?
Yeah,
no, actually, I was like, who's this guy with all the beads? Like, he's very, different. The style was a little bit... I mean, it was the 90s.
It was the 90s.
So it was it was the 90s, vintage. But it was this guy's got some different style. It looks good.
Yeah. So after pestering you multiple times, you finally agreed to go out with me, and then the rest is history.
The rest is history. Had you been through law school by then?
No, actually, this was before law school, pre-law school. Just had taken a break to go traveling.
Nice.
And had come back, and then we met, and then we went traveling.
Oh, where did you guys go?
We lived in London for almost a year.
Stop it. You guys are so cool.
Yeah. Well, we met, and kind of, I think it was about 6 months later, we decided that we were going to take off. And we moved to London, packed up our bags, and worked there for a year.
Close to a year, yeah.
You lived in London?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like London, England, not London, Ontario.
London, England,
when you were starting to say that, I was like, of course you did. And then I'm like, legit.
Yeah, we moved to London, England, and just kind of
worked there for a year. We experienced being very poor in London, England.
Yeah.
We
Europe
found
is not cheap.
Not at all. And we found out, we had saved as much as we thought we needed, but we were very young and got there and realized, first and last month's rent, all the things.
Yeah.
Wow. We really
there goes our savings.
we really didn't have a lot of money to do the traveling that we had anticipated, but we did call London our home for a year, and it was pretty amazing.
That's
and
so cool.
Met nice people. And
where
really
did you guys work when you were living in London?
Various places.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
we were
like temp, temp
Yeah.
agency, kind of doing that kind of thing.
I worked at Clarence Paris makeup, but in their office doing temp work, not anything super cool. But I entered data for a while, and just jobs like that. Nothing. Both of us hadn't been to university at that point, and we just were young. And
I had taken a break. I'd been for a little while before.
Yeah,
so. And I worked odd jobs as well. I lucked into a job. Some friends from here actually were over there working, and they were working for a publication, like a financial publication, in the financial district.
Okay, fancy.
And so it sounds fancy, but really it was data entry. I mean, it was, it was
That's how they hooked you.
Yeah, exactly. It's here's all these cool things, but you're just entering numbers. That was it. So, but it was a good job, good people, great experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, it was probably one of the reasons when I came back that I went into commerce at the time.
Okay.
Probably was from that experience. So.
And you were like, let's be a lawyer. Or did you know?
That come later.
Okay.
Yeah, that came later.
Because when I sorry, when I was like researching you guys, I was like, oh snap! Like you both have very interesting backgrounds, like career development and like people management and like being a lawyer, and you have a law practice. It's like, how do you guys have time to do anything? Well, but I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it's definitely helped us in our ventures that we are on and our paths that we're on now. I have dedicated my time since opening OEB to that and to being on the leadership team there. And Derek still has a full-time practice.
Still do the law practice, and I just managed to make it work. Yeah.
I'm like trying to picture you in a suit. I'm like going in and being like,
and then when I saw your picture, I was like, oh, he's a cool lawyer.
Yeah, I was like, actually, I would feel very confident if you walked in. I'd be like, yup,
my
this is my
partner
vibe.
has a big beard. For a long time, he had long hair and wore it up, right? So I was just like, oh yeah, my vibe.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
No,
so
and it was, for practicing law for up until a couple of years ago when I started my own firm, it looked very different.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was the suit, it was the closely shaven, short hair, very much different look, but
Haircut every 3 weeks.
every 3 weeks,
on the calendar.
like
and so
pre-scheduled.
So you're like breaking industry standards now then.
Yeah, well, that's the benefit when you own your own firm. You can set your own dress code. So, this is
So
what
like,
you get.
if they don't look like me, I'm not hiring. Long
No,
hair
not
and
quite
big
that.
beard.
The interview questions like, do you wear beads?
Have you traveled?
Have you traveled? Do you wear beads?
You're hired.
Yeah. No, the good thing is I get to set my own dress code. Whatever anyone else wants to do, that's up to them. But
I love that.
we talked about a potential blazer today, and that was a hard no.
I understand. I'll like
Hard no.
in my relationship with my husband, I'm very like, I like to dress up. I'm actually very casual today. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you are.
But I got bling. I'm very casual today. And all the time when we're like going on a date, I'll be like, can you just wear this?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm wearing my farm sweater that says like,
Yeah.
John Deere.
egg is best.
Yeah.
John Deere. Well, no, actually, we don't drive John Deere, but
Sorry.
so I can appreciate
Yeah,
the
but-
being like, what about this?
this is very familiar for us, for sure. We have those conversations quite often.
Yeah.
No, I love that you guys came as you are. That's what we want. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So OEB, because like huge fans sitting at the table.
Yeah.
Like we love OEB. My husband loves OEB. Like there is no other choice but OEB.
Yeah.
And so I'm so curious on how that happened because CJ posted on our social media that OEB is privately owned.
Locally owned.
Sorry, locally
Yeah, and
owned.
so many people came out and they were like, what? I didn't know it was locally owned. And I think, Kori, you and I talked about beforehand, and you were like, people don't know necessarily.
Some people do. I mean, we've tried. We opened 2.5 years ago, and the circumstances under which we opened, we were very much focused on just navigating. This is obviously the time when COVID started, and we were focused on navigating through that, at being new to the industry.
Surviving.
Yes.
Focused on
Just
surviving.
really. So we have connected and with our community, but not. I kind of feel like now is the place or the opportunity for us to get out there more and connect and let people know that, hey, we're a local family. We've lived in Saskatchewan our whole lives. We love OEB. How it came about is
Yes,
Derek.
so curious.
I'm so curious.
And also,
Yeah.
I just want to know that I didn't know that you guys were the owners. Like, I didn't know OEB was locally owned. I also didn't know, prior to my research, it's a Canadian-founded company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Started in Calgary.
absolutely.
And I was like, so cool.
It definitely is. And so Derek,
So as part of my other work on the legal side of things, I had a former colleague who was a trademark agent in Calgary, and she had this amazing client that she was doing work for, and said, hey, they're working on some expansions, and they need some legal advice. So I had met Chef Mauro Martina, who's the founder of OEB in Calgary, and just clicked with him kind of immediately. It was just his passion and enthusiasm for OEB and food in general. It was contagious. And so we were very much like, just hit it off immediately. I remember there was actually one night it was actually a Sunday night, we were talking like work, and we realized, we had been talking for a couple of hours because we got off on a tangent about our love for like San Diego and Southern California. And we both realized that like, oh, we've been talking for 2 hours. We need to get our kids to bed. Like,
I'm wondering like, wow, like who's this new friendship that is developed? And so what had happened is you came to me and said, hey, like there's this restaurant OEB in Calgary. Do you want to go? Do you want to check it out? Sure. We have 3 kids, so we packed them up. We went on this road trip, and
all for food. I'm into it. You're like, I've heard they have the best duck fat fries.
Let's go. But we packed our kids up and we went on a little family road trip to Calgary, and we had my first experience eating in the restaurant, and it was just one of those experiences. I walked in and the decor, it was so bright and everybody was friendly, and then we got our food and we were like, wow, this looks amazing. And our kids' eyes were just like, whoa, this is so cool. And it tastes amazing. And Derek and I had talked before about not necessarily opening a restaurant, but when we were living in London, I had kind of drafted this, my 19-year-old self drafted this business plan of opening a juice bar. Like this was in 90.
You were like ahead of the
this
time.
Was like pre-booster juice, like pre-anything like that.
Right.
That was 99.
99.
Right.
Yeah, 99.
So I still have it to this day. Actually,
I love it.
It's in a box at home, but it was this business plan on opening a juice bar when we got back to Saskatoon. And so that idea of opening, in hospitality, opening something was always there for both of us. Mm-hmm. And so we talked about it, and Derek's like, hey, if we ever had the opportunity, like, is this something that you would be on board with? And it's like, yeah, like I love it. It's like the whole experience, was there. And so we just kind of planted the seed. If you guys are expanding this way to Saskatchewan, will you keep us in mind? And then it was on the back burner for a while, and we didn't really hear anything, but Derek was really active in looking for that perfect spot. And
just continued kind of working away at that, and eventually it came to be. It wasn't easy, but
what is?
Well, and it's such a beautiful spot. It's so light and bright. It's so great. I love it. Like, I think you did a good job.
Yeah, we love it too. And I think we were fortunate because it was a bit of a back and forth even on the space at the time, and we were very close to opening in a different location altogether, and it just things kind of fell into place, thankfully. And it's the perfect location for an OEB. It's so bright and just
central.
Nice location.
And which date? What month did you open again? I was there. I should know, but.
We opened end of June 2020. We were supposed to open
March.
3 months
Oh
prior.
no!
Right when COVID hit,
and you were like, "It's okay. It'll be 2 weeks."
You know what? Actually,
it's okay. Yeah.
That is really funny you say that, because when there was the 2-week lockdown, we were sitting at our kitchen table. It was 2 weeks, and we're like, "Okay, well, we can deal with this. 2 weeks. Just." Press pause, that's not a problem. And then 2 weeks, as we all know, became longer and longer, and our beautiful restaurant sat there because we were probably 98% complete
done,
on our build.
And did you have staff hired and everything?
Our leadership team,
our management team,
they were hired.
We had some of our management team actually training at other OEBs in Alberta at the time, and so it was literally like, you come home because we don't know if they're going to close the borders.
Yeah.
Like at
Right.
the time, it
Wow.
was such, craziness, right? So
I remember calling one of our leaders, and I just said to her, like, I need you to come back home. Like, do you have a ride? And she did. And I'm like, if you don't have a ride, I'll come get you. But I don't want you to be in a situation where you're
Stuck.
not
stuck away from home. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, it was for the whole industry, for everybody, right? The world.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, wow.
Yeah.
But you guys can really speak to the food industry, right? And how that impacted you guys, right? And
Yeah.
so what did you do to pivot? And how long did that take?
Well, so I kind of feel like we're, oh my gosh.
He's like, I blocked it out. I don't know.
Exactly. It's
You know
kind of
what?
a
Trauma.
It's kind of a
Sometimes
soft,
you
sensitive.
just have to focus on the forward, and I think that's ultimately what got us through. But we have an amazing leadership team, and we all, it would be 6:00 one night saying, okay, well, now tomorrow you need plexiglass barriers, and so it was always just dealing with the immediate and learning to focus on like those problems. And it's with a team, it's achievable to overcome those problems. I mean, even outside of the leadership team, I remember specifically with the plexiglass, it's like, okay, we're rolling up the sleeves, we're heading to Rona, we're picking up that plexiglass, and then my dad's like, wow,
Who is amazing.
He's so
Handyman,
amazing. This is
incredible.
where I might start crying, but
It's okay.
he actually he worked that night and got all these beautiful barriers open so that we could operate, and have as many guests as possible come in safely. So it was really, the masking and the COVID passports
Restrictions.
or
Yeah,
all of those
yeah.
things. It was just, okay, this is our challenge. Team, how are we going to overcome that challenge? What steps can we all do, or how,
Just having to be incredibly nimble, I think, right? And just everything. It was like things were changing, like not even weekly or daily. It was like hourly, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and having to just make decisions on the fly based on here's the new news, and having to stay incredibly nimble. We are very fortunate. We have an incredible support network. Like not only our families, who have been very supportive and helped throughout the whole process. Some of it's actually, rolling up the sleeves and swinging a hammer or, drilling or whatever. But some of it's just having someone to talk to about some of the issues, right? For us, opening a restaurant, it's a huge financial investment.
Oh, yeah.
And, like Kori said, we were 98% finished, so all the money was out the door already.
Yeah, and that now
And now
it's
it's
when's
like,
it going to come back?
Now, when can we open? And so it was very much, talking through, with different people and different issues. And, I can recall even some other people in the food and beverage industry, like Sean over at 9 Mile.
Oh, yeah. I've known Sean for years.
Yeah, just calling out of the blue. And I've known Sean. Sean's a classmate of mine from law school. And so, him just calling out of the blue saying, how's it going? And just chatting with him and talking through some issues. Andy and Rachel over at Odd Couple, similar, like just being super supportive and just having people to talk to about, bouncing ideas and saying, what are you guys doing and what do you think we should do here?
Yeah.
Talking with family members as well. Like both of our families come from farming backgrounds. And so, talking with them about, about risk and financial risk.
Yeah.
And like, well, we
Preach.
right?
There were a
So-
lot of conversations with, your parents especially, just about, the correlations with the farming and then us opening the restaurant and how, similar.
Can't control the weather.
You can't control the weather, absolutely. And so that's what we learned to do. It's, okay, there's a challenge in place. We have to move quickly and work together as a team and
rise to the challenge and just
and
get through it.
thankful for those key people. I mean, just even a 20-minute conversation on the phone from somebody who, like, we weren't really in the restaurant industry. So to have someone like Sean phone and, you know, check in, how thoughtful and how meaningful for us, just to know that there's someone there that's going through similar
shared experiences.
Shared experiences, absolutely. And so that, just having those key people and that support was really important to us.
It really helped get through.
Really helped, absolutely.
How do you think that built the foundation for your team at OEB, going through that all, like, all the challenges right from the beginning? Hey friends, it's Megan. Entrepreneurship can be lonely, and I've learned over the years as a small business owner that nothing is more powerful than being in a room of like-minded women. I want to introduce you to a small business that has a very special place in my heart, the Well Collaborative. If you are seeking more connection in your business, I invite you to check out the Well Collaborative. The Well fosters connections for the professional woman so she can grow her business while feeling less alone by providing a space of belonging, community support, and engagement, and an amazing network of women to connect with. I have personally been a member of the Well since its formation, and I can tell you that being a Well woman has impacted both my business and my life in so many ways. The Well is a community of women, by women, for women. The Well brings together women from all walks of life, all backgrounds, races, faiths, careers, together with a specific vision, to work together in a supportive community, to empower one another and build each other's businesses up. The Well believes in your wisdom, intuition, and the right to choose your own path. It's time for femininity to be at the forefront of entrepreneurship and leadership. Learn more about the Well offerings and how to become a Well woman at thewellcollaborative.com. That's the Well, WELLCOLLABORATIVE. And then find them on Instagram at the Well Collab, also linked in the show notes.
How I see our team is we're very different. We all come from very different backgrounds, and I think that's our strength as a team.
Absolutely.
So I think the shared experience just allows us to be, or what I would like it to be, and what I've tried to lead and have that, you know, lead our discussions, is having the authentic leadership conversations where each person can come to the table and hopefully feel okay sharing their ideas and their thoughts, and not be afraid that, you know, something's wrong or any idea is necessarily a bad idea. It's just when we encounter challenges, my goal for our team is, let's talk, like, let's get it all out on the table. No idea is a bad idea. Don't ever feel like, I don't want anyone to ever feel judged on, you know, this might be a silly idea, but just let it out there. Like, let's be honest. A big thing of mine is get it out on the table. Like,
what's our mantra with our team?
Talk.
What's our mantra?
Well, you can tell them about it.
I love a mantra.
Communication, right? We just,
Yes.
like, we try, and every time, like, guys, communicate. Like, communication, that's how we'll all be successful here, is if we're communicating with one another. So communication is definitely one of our mantras.
Yeah, I never want to be in a place where I'm guessing how someone feels,
Right.
and I'm very honest, and I just hope that for our team as well. I mean, I don't want people ever guessing, like, how is she feeling on this? Well,
How's she going to react?
Right. It's I'm very truthful and very straightforward and honest, and I hope that for our team that everyone feels comfortable enough being able to express themselves. And
I think our leadership team, like, at the time when we opened, they were trying to be supportive as well, and saying, like, is there anything we can do to help? Like, you know, can we come help put chairs together, or, you know, or, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just because they were, I mean, it was just strange for everyone,
yeah,
right?
we couldn't have them in because of restrictions.
Right.
So
It's so funny how you quickly forget. When I was like, oh yeah, there was only a certain amount of people allowed in a space at a time. You couldn't have anybody at your house. Like, it's like, I think I have blocks.
yeah. No,
absolutely.
And we have, and just being invited to talk here gave me the opportunity to kind of look back, and it was like, yes,
Wait a sec.
I forgot about that. And also just our kids.
Conveniently
and
forget about it.
That was wild.
It was
Yeah.
so
it's
wild.
so wild. But at the same time, for our family, I mean, like I said, we have 3 kids. It was a very connecting time for us, actually, because, you know, Derek mentioned putting together chairs. Our kids were with us putting together the chairs.
And
Our
tables and everything
kids
else.
were there putting together tables and doing, you know, after construction cleaning and things like that. And so the store is such a source of pride for us and our family. And so it's really nice to have, you know, this concept like OEB, something that we loved when we went to Calgary, and bring it back here to our home, and then have our kids like they really contributed a lot to the store, and they continue to you know, pick
That's
the
so
weeds in our
cool.
garden boxes, and so everybody, I think, I know in our family feels really proud of where the store has evolved. And
Well, and I feel like I've heard that from a few people, and here's the deal. I do not like what we went through. I don't look back on that time and I'm like,
No.
But I did say to Nick the other day, and I mean, we've gone through a really crazy season right now in our lives, and I was like, do you remember when like we just couldn't go anywhere? And there was a brief second there where it was almost nice when you thought it was just 2 weeks, and you were like, okay, I'm forced to like just hang out with my kids today.
yeah.
I'm gonna bake buns 3
This
times.
is the thing. I taught my kids to make bread,
You
and
know?
we delivered it to the grandparents, and
Yes.
you know, that pause.
And
but
so
then there was
Then
more.
it carried on too
Exactly.
much. It was like, okay, now y'all need to go back to school. So I'm like, I like
Get outside.
I'm literally like, let's go. But I've heard from a few families who were like, you know, we were so caught up in sports and activities and running to and
Yeah.
fro, and it
Busy,
made them
busy.
like they're like, now our kids like aren't doing sports because they're like, no, my life when I'm not doing them is, and I'm all about sports, but you know, that's just the example I can give is a
overscheduled.
Yes,
Absolutely.
overcommitted, overscheduled.
Yes.
How old are your kids?
Our oldest is 16.
Oh my gosh.
So we have our 2 oldest are boys, 16 and 14, and then our youngest is a girl. And she's 11.
Aw.
Yeah.
I think the activities though, that resonates for us. I mean, we were definitely like every day you're running kids around to different activities, and now it's definitely less so, but it's almost like it's swung too far the other way, where the kids don't want to be involved in the activities, and it's like, no, like this is good
This
for
is
you.
so good.
Remember, you
Yeah.
used to like
Right.
it.
You used to enjoy this,
or it's
and
actually good for you as a
Outlet.
growing
just as
adult.
a development, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, that was tough because, I mean, and some of the missed opportunities too. And I mean, I don't want to
Yeah.
get into too much details, but like, you know, for example, our kids were in Taekwondo at the time, and of course they couldn't do that anymore. And like, I want to say, I think it's our oldest is like 1 away from being a black belt, and but he never went back to it after, and so he'll probably never
Right.
get to that.
Yeah.
I see.
I mean, we'll encourage him at some point, you know, pick it up again. But
16-year-old boys, I imagine, are
he's
not.
got other priorities.
I have
so.
a 6-year-old boy, so like I'll be coming to you guys for advice.
Well, and I think about like I worked with volunteering with our youth in our town, and just like I think back to some of these kids who would have now not had a grad or like
Well,
some of
and
these
that's
experiences, and then I'm like,
exactly,
that 2-week break really, like I'm like, oh, there were good parts, but I'm like, for the young people, the opportunities.
That was
that's
actually
our-
a sad event last June, right?
Well, our 14-year-old, he graduated from grade 8, and they had a physical grad.
Yeah.
Our 16-year-old did not.
Yeah.
And so it
Forget
brought
about
up
the grade 8
some-
grads, because
Yeah.
I'm from a small town, so I'm like, we get 1 grad. No kindergarten, no.
Yeah, and we get the kindergarten and the grade 8. And, but
kindergarten.
It actually was a little bit disheartening because that was missed
Yeah.
from our oldest son, and we did what we could, obviously, and we had a party at home, but it's just,
and the
looks
school
a lot
did too.
different.
I mean, they tried to do something like virtually, right? But it's not the same as having that in-person grad with your classmates and those kids that, especially in grade 8, you may not be in the same school next year.
Right,
So,
with all your friends.
So that was, different. And last June, it actually really resonated. I mean, as we were going through it in 2020, it's front of mind and you're trying to get through. But in June is when it really resonated, at least for me, because at the time I had just returned from Toronto on a business trip. And of course I contracted COVID while I was gone. And
I don't know.
So came back and was sick. So couldn't attend our middle child's grade 8 grad. So we were trying to
I sat
FaceTime
the entire time FaceTiming, and he was sitting in the truck with our oldest because he was picking him up from school. But the entire grad ceremony was on FaceTime.
But I'm sitting there with our oldest, and he's listening in on this and realizing like this is what I missed.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
It was really hard.
Yeah,
and it really sunk in then for all of us, I think, at that point, like what some of the things that were happening in 2020, what people were actually missing.
I don't think, I'm very interested to hear, and I think about, I'm fortunate. I didn't really lose out on much. Nick being a farmer, he still worked, like really, I got to stop seeing clients for a while, and that was fine. But I wonder about the grieving process that people will go through as they start to have maybe milestones or experience milestones that they themselves missed.
Absolutely.
I'm curious on what that will look like.
Well, and getting like re-triggered almost, right? Because like you said, you went through grad and that was probably hard, but then the next grad you were like, we get these triggers later on that come up and you're like, okay, these are things that I'm now going to have to work through.
Absolutely,
For sure. And I think for kids, I mean, they're so resilient, but it's the stuff that comes out later, like what you're talking about, that it's, it may not come out immediately as you're going through it. I mean, kids are sent home from school one day like, okay guys, you're all done for the year, right?
Right?
And that was it at the time.
Remember, we pulled our son out on the Monday, and I think it was like, Friday's the last day, and we were like, well, let's just pull him, it's only going to be a couple weeks. And he was 3 at the time, right? So he was in pre-K, whatever. Yeah. But we were like, what do we do? Like, we're not doing Zoom pre-kinder. Like, it was wild.
Yeah.
So I felt like pieces of it were easier because he was so little, but then pieces of it, like, you're kind of seeing the developmental stuff being delayed in certain areas. Like, it's just such a time. Like, what did somebody say? Like, when people see the history books about 2020 to 2022, they're going to be like, what the?
What happened?
I'm not going to quote this right at all, but I was listening to a podcast with a expert in ADHD and ADD, and they were talking about school systems and what we've just gone through. And they were like, I think it'll take like minimum a decade before we see things like go back to sort of normal. And they were like, and I think that's like minimum because of what
so
kids,
interesting,
right?
The developmental.
Yeah.
I mean, I have family who works in the school systems, and they're like, these grade 9s, kids who like didn't get a chance to develop with older kids, or these grade 12s who are like, I don't know how to be a leader because I wasn't a leader for 2 years, right? We were like at home, or those are just some examples, but I think it'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think it's been, as resilient as we are, and as much as it doesn't show, they're still kids and they're still developing, and it's, they're missing out on some of those development opportunities, like online school, for example, like the first year back, right?
I'm just choking. She's like, oh my coffee. The trauma.
Take a second. I've been in trauma for so long.
I swallowed my coffee down the wrong tube.
You're good.
No, you're good.
It's a challenge, right? And it's continuing to work. It's not over, right? It'll never be over because people experience that. So it's, how do we deal with that, and how do we try and...
Well, my son is like, Mom, do you remember when we had that awesome birthday party planned for me and then you canceled it? And I'm like, I didn't cancel it.
Yeah, sorry.
COVID
a little bit outside of my control.
I'm like, excuse me. But that's like in his head now. And I mean, he's only 7, so eventually he'll be like, oh yeah, okay, Mom didn't cancel it. But like, he'll just randomly bring it up and I'm like, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay, I have a question about how the dynamic works between you two after being married for so long and then opening a business together. How has that impacted like your communication and like, well, really like anything? Like how has that worked?
I'll let
And
you
how
take
is it
that
not?
one.
The look on his face. He's like, push my chair back. She just got way closer to the mic.
Well, I'm not. No.
I'll just take a break.
Yeah. To be honest, we've been together for 24 years,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
He just
Good answer.
He's like,
Good
it's April
answer.
19th. He knows the answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Day. So we've obviously been through a lot. So we've been through 3 kids, we've been through moving, we've been through traveling. No one knows me better than Derek and vice versa.
Right.
And so we're very open with each other. We're very honest. We have discussions. Sometimes.
More discussion.
I have a lot of discussion.
But you know what? That's what makes it work
right.
between us. I wouldn't have it any other way, and it wasn't a big stretch for us to open a business at all. I don't think we really.
And I should say,
skipped
some of the
beat.
discussions aren't even vocalized.
That's how good you
She
guys
just
are.
knows what I'm thinking and what
Yeah.
I'm going to say.
No,
like,
seriously,
no,
no.
don't even
Yeah.
have to say it.
Like,
I know.
And
just
even
a
watching this dynamic, like I was gonna say it before, I'm like watching you two, like we ask you a question and you guys like immediately do
Look
this.
at each other.
You look at each other and you're like, okay. Like I
And then
can
it's
tell.
like,
yeah.
you know she's going to speak, or,
Yes.
you know, like, it's
So
so,
good.
like, the unspoken communication is
You
really
guys
strong.
We're trying to be respectful because at home it might be boo boo all at the same time. Fair. But I think we've been through so much and so many different experiences that I know what, or not always, but most of the time I know, okay, this is how Derek would feel about this, or he knows what I would feel about that. And so as both being leaders and working with others as well, it's just, again, what I was saying before is hoping that they feel as comfortable as we do sharing and being themselves. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like this for everyone, but I mean, for us as life partners, it seemed to be an easy transition to become business partners.
Yeah.
It just seemed to,
Instead.
just kind of an extension of being life partners almost.
I mean, with any relationship, there's good days, there's not so good days, there's hard times, and we've been through, you know, major challenges, especially like as people have in the last 3 years, but even before that. And it's just learning how to work together and that we'll get through it. We always do, and love each other's company. We still love, we just came back from London. We went back to finish.
First time since we lived there.
Yeah.
Did you take your kids?
No,
They were
we
like,
did not.
"See you guys."
No.
I'm like, good move.
We were gone for, it was the first extended period of time we had
Away from the kids. For a
kids.
couple
We were
weeks,
gone
yeah.
for
Couple
10,
weeks. 12 days.
12. I convinced myself of 10 because it was hard for me to leave the
course.
kids.
Yeah.
But we went back to London and we did the things that we didn't get to do before. And we went to Amsterdam and we went to Paris. And
We're just over here melting like what?
we're just like, it feels like goals over here. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I just love that.
But
Well, and that was kind of a bit of a delayed anniversary trip for us as well.
Right.
So
was it supposed to be like your 20-year anniversary?
Well, it was our 15
like
wedding
married, because we
anniversary.
dated for 7 years before
Right.
we got married. We
Got
were
it.
doing the university thing.
Yeah.
Kind of our wedding anniversary in 2020 kind of wasn't going to happen. So
Yeah.
it was kind of a delayed version of that, and it was good to go back to London and kind of see the old stomping grounds.
And we
So fun.
still have fun together, and we still love experiencing new things, and we still love food and finding delicious
Food,
yeah.
and a lot of the travels are focused on food.
There's a lot of food pictures.
Do you want to know what those? So CJ and I were talking about this the other day because I don't know. I'm not going to be like, in my older age. But, you know, like, something happened when I turned 30. Like, something happened, and I was like, I have no time for nonsense.
This
like,
is me. I'm in, like, when I turned 40, yes. I was like, no more nonsense. This is...
I don't care anymore.
And I'm happy. I mean, and it's nothing against... But I said to CJ, I was like, I think I'm more focused on, like, I want to travel somewhere where I'm really going to like the food.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, it doesn't, like... Like, I was like, there are some amazing places in the world. I'm like, but I don't know. And again, you should go and try the food. But I'm like, like, you know, we were just talking about now that's... And what was the other one we said? Traveling for food and...
Experience.
And experience.
I think was what it was, right?
Sure.
And what you're traveling for changes.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, instead of being like, I want to go here to say I've been there, it's like, I want to go there because of the culture or because of the, you know, the people or whatever else. So I love that you guys went and did that.
Yeah, for us, it's all about food and experience. Like, our trips are usually planned somewhat around food.
Okay, so London, like England food, though, because I feel like...
you know what's...
We had you go ahead, but we had a big surprise there.
Actually, it was very much... we kind of... Having lived there, we're like, okay, not so great.
And mash.
Well,
basically,
like,
right?
isn't it mash everything?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
But it was actually, you know, probably one of the better out of the 3 stops. Probably the best.
Oh, really?
The food in London, just different, and we experienced different things. I mean, of course, we wanted to go back and have like the traditional English breakfast, so we did that at the pub that was around the corner. But it was amazing, and they did it so well. And then we did, you know, of course, a fish and chips meal,
a pot pie meal, and mashed potatoes, and we stumbled across. We were in Soho in London, and we stumbled across a Burmese restaurant,
which
it was.
To me,
it's
a top
ever.
5 meal I've ever had. Yeah, ever.
It was so good. So that's what we love to do. We love, you know, he's a speed walker, and I'm like,
so
where are we going?
So irritating.
Yeah.
Slow down, you guys.
Following my nose.
But it was literally, we stumbled onto it.
Yeah.
It was, we had gone to a musical in the afternoon, and we were just kind of walking around.
Oh, fun! Mary Poppins
in London.
She would tell us because we'd all be like, oh my God.
Cute. Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it.
It was a good experience. Yeah, it was a very good experience. But we were stumbling around, and we weren't sure, like, oh, well, there's restaurants around here. Should we go back to where we were staying, and maybe we'll just go to a place around there? Yeah. And we were getting a little hangry, I think, at this point.
I just was like, why are you walking so fast? Where are we going? and then
we seemed to be walking in circles in Soho. And it was, literally, we were walking past this place, and there was tables open, so we're like, let's try here. Let's just...
I love that. Those are the best spots, though.
Yeah.
And stumbled on, like I said, it's one of the top 5 meals I've ever had.
Well, now I'm like so curious, and I'm like, okay, if you can think of, like, what are some of your other top 5?
Oh.
Right? And I'm like,
fives.
you might, okay.
This is so funny. I wish Andrew was here for this. My partner's a chef.
Oh,
and
really?
I'm like, he hates going out for dinner with me. Like, we argue. It's like we just don't go for dinner together because he wants to try all the things, and I'm very much like, is there chicken? Or like, so it's so
do you
funny.
order chicken fingers?
No. I'll generally he orders and we split a bunch of stuff, but he knows, like, he doesn't get to have the full experience he wants to have when he's with me. I'll say that. Yeah.
He needs to go for lunch with me and CJ.
I know.
Probably we're inviting you.
Way more fun. See if he listens to this episode. I won't tell him.
I will definitely try anything, but I prefer knowing if it's an ingredient that I might not be on board with. I prefer knowing after.
Well, I want to hear
both of you guys.
It's tough though, because we've talked about it in terms of even as a result of this recent trip to Europe, the top 5 in terms of top 5 total or top 5 experience, right? And it's different.
That is different,
right?
Your experience.
Experience. For me, I mean, what brought it up was, so when we were in Paris, we dined at this little French restaurant.
It was a family
owned and run.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful spot. Just the experience was you're in this tiny little spot across the main road from the Notre Dame. And, you're sitting in this little restaurant. Everybody's kind of packed in. And they're cooking the meat on an open fire in the middle of the restaurant. Of course, there's a chimney or whatever, but it's And I thought, that's neat. Like, you don't see that everywhere you go to a restaurant. So for me, that was a top 5 experience. The food was great as well, which helped.
It was, yeah.
But it was just, that really sets it over the top.
Yeah.
And just cute little details as well. Their menu was on a chalkboard, and they'd pull chairs around the restaurant to put the menu on instead of getting like a physical
like everyone gets to see the same thing exactly when it's your turn.
It's a chalkboard,
and I love that.
That's cute.
There's a slowness to that idea that
an
we
intimacy
don't experience.
Yeah.
After I lived overseas, I said, in China they go for dinner, and that's what they do. They go for dinner. Like, you're not rushing away. You're not rushing to the next activity. And I feel like that's something North America like doesn't quite have.
Yeah.
Is there such a like fast pace? Like, where's my food? Now I've killed it, and now I'm off.
Yeah, the fast casual restaurant dining, right? It's not, this is your event for the evening.
Well, the experience, which is what you just said, right?
Yeah.
To experience
absolutely.
it. Well, I feel like with all of your traveling, that's why OEB is what it is here in Saskatoon with you guys.
I feel that the experience is what, the whole experience is what drew me in, and that was the joy that I felt and that I knew my kids were feeling. And in the entire experience, the decor, the people, the food, how it looked, how it tasted, it was a joyful experience for our family. And that's my hope for everybody that comes in our store, is that they feel that joy, and that they, it's...
Yeah, I mean, that was why we thought, like, we wanted to share that with people here, right? And that was, part of that decision to go ahead with it was, hey, with this amazing experience, like, you loved it, I loved it, the kids loved it.
Yeah.
Like, let's...
I still like, when I'm there, I still like watching when people get their food.
Oh, yeah.
And we were just having...
Because you see this?
Yeah.
We were just...
Eyes go really big.
Oh, because everyone's like...
And we were there having lunch with our daughter because they had the day off.
Yeah.
And so we brought her, and just watching as people get their meals and their plates. And it was a teenager with... our do not even go there crepe, and he just, his eyeballs like were whoa, and he started laughing and just devoured the whole thing. And so that is just, it's very heartwarming for me to see that people enjoy the food that much and are enjoying their time. I think it must have been a parent or someone that took him there, and just as a parent, that would feel really nice as well.
My kids keep asking for the potatoes that look like apple slices.
Potato
they're like this. They like draw it. I'm like, I know you want to go to OEB there. And then as soon as they're like, Nick's like, when are we going there? And I'm like, when you all get in the car, let's go.
Come on. Well, and I'm like, one last question that we have for you guys maybe is, tell us, what is your guys' favorite dish from OEB?
I asked Derek that the other day because...
Or current favorite dish, because maybe it's changed.
It changes for me just based on what I'm feeling like. So if I'm feeling like, a little savory dish, I'll go for one of the breakfast poutines, the soul in a bowl, or the Get Shorty rib poutine.
Really good one.
I know.
Get Shorty.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a big fan of the do not even go there for the sweet, the crepe, and custard and berries and pistachios and all the things.
I'm like so hungry right now.
I'm like, where are we going after this?
I went with, I feel like I unlocked, my friend and I went for breakfast, and we were like looking at the menu, and I was like, let's get the French toast. We'll get the Shorty.
Yeah.
I'm like, and we'll split it.
Yeah.
And then you get both. And they were so beautiful and brought it to a split. Like, it looked
wonderful.
They didn't just like make us dump it onto our plates. It was actually a really great experience.
Yeah.
And I was like, new level unlocked. I was like, I need both every time.
Yeah.
This is the standard.
For me, it really depends on the time of day, what I'm feeling like.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm there for breakfast or if I'm there for lunch, I might order something different. The sweet and savory combination. If I'm feeling like that, I'll usually get the threesome, because I can get a combination of like...
What is the threesome?
I'm literally like, excuse me.
What is the threesome?
Derek.
The podcast just turned.
He's like, well, let me tell you.
It's funny whenever that dish is ordered, people giggle and
Yeah,
love it.
every time.
It's so funny.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
it does have the sweet and the savory.
Basically, you get your choice of 3 options, like your
Oh,
eggs.
okay.
So you got 1 protein, choice of different meats, like whether you want the bacon or like a back bacon or whatever, and then also choice of, say, if you want like a pancake or a waffle or French toast, and so you got that combination of.
Yeah.
I usually get a threesome where it's
Really be different
eggs,
every time.
bacon, and like the French toast, because then I get that
Yeah.
sweet and
Yeah.
savory together.
all in one.
All in one, which is amazing.
So we're going for lunch after.
I'm literally like, I'm not joking. My
Salivating.
stomach is grumbling right
So
now.
good.
Okay,
So good.
I wish we could keep talking.
Yeah.
Also, I want to hear more of the names of the dishes. It's so fun.
I know.
Very
But
creative.
we have to ask our wrap-up question, which is, and this is the first time we've had 2 guests on together, so I'm so curious what you guys are going to say. But we would love for you to tell the listeners, like, what is something that you're currently just loving, and it could be anything.
So we're in the process of making Christmas lists at home, and so I looked at mine. I'm like, wow, this is really telling. So heated blanket, candles, bubble bath. That's what I'm loving right now.
So
is just
cozy,
being
relaxing.
warm and relaxing, and just enjoying the present.
Oh, I love that.
That's
I
what
love
would
that.
say is I'm loving.
Yeah.
What's on your list?
What's on my list? I'm
Bubble
loving.
baths.
Yeah,
Heated blanket.
yeah. I'm just loving life right now. Honestly,
Great answer.
it's like literally, running into people now because I'm getting out more and seeing people that maybe I haven't seen in a few years, and like, how are things going, right? And honestly, my response to a lot of people is like, don't pinch me, because if I'm dreaming, I don't want to wake up. So just loving where we are as a family right now, loving, work and what we're working on, and yeah, just loving life in general.
That is like the best answer. I love it.
I have goosebumps.
I play the Hallmark music. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Okay, please tell our listeners where they can find you guys.
So we are at the River Landing Tower. So that's 409 3rd Avenue South, and we're right by the Victoria Bridge.
Amazing. And where can we follow you on Instagram and socials?
My own account is _KORI, Kori _Elaine, ALAYNE. And then we have our OEB Instagram. It's OEB _breakfast. And you can also follow us on our Facebook page, which is, we have a specific one for River Landing at OEB.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having us.
So fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this episode of the Her Podcast. If you want to follow along with us, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at its.her.podcast. We can't wait to see you there.
Bye.
Adios.